I'm Jeff Bond, and welcome back to the Steward Chair, where we bring business leaders insights that go beyond the balance sheet to help you build a more resilient and impactful organization. Today, I'm speaking with my friend Rob Kuehl, CEO of Maier America, the North American subsidiary of a German family-owned company. We're unpacking the critical importance today of servant leadership as a foundation for building a diverse and resilient workplace culture. This conversation is for every leader who knows that true competitive advantage isn't about just what you do, but how you do it. And today, we'll show you how to lead with vulnerability, trust, and love to create a lasting legacy. Before we get started, if you haven't already, we would really appreciate you following this podcast wherever you're listening for future content, and consider sharing it with a fellow leader. Okay, that's it. Let's dive in. Rob Kuehl, welcome to the Steward Chair.
Thank you. Nice to see you.
You have become a good friend of mine and a CEO who I truly admire, working for a global business that's been around for almost a century now. Is that right? For the family business?
Over a century.
You've been leading your business now for 10 years here in the Americas, and I've toured your facility. I've seen your leadership in action. I see your heart for servant leadership and how you love your people well. And it really is something to be admired. So what a gift for our listeners to be able to hear your wisdom today. So thank you again for carving this time out.
You're welcome. Looking forward to it.
Thank you. All right, well, let's jump in. You know, when I think of stewardship, for years now, we've been exploring the concept of servant leadership. And it was kind of a subtle shift that we really started to look at business leadership as stewardship. Sometimes people relate that word to like a churchy word of stewardship, but we really do believe that we belong to the chair in business, that the chair doesn't belong to us. We are simply entrusted with the people, the culture, the operations, the responsibility of driving a profit, like all of that stuff falls squarely into our responsibility. So when you think of the word stewardship in the context of business leadership, what thoughts does that evoke in your mind?
Well, I think of the words of Jesus to serve one another, to help one another. I think of Paul's definition of love in 1 Corinthians 13. And I really practice those, memorize it. Love is patient, kind, doesn't envy, doesn't boast, is not rude, is not self-seeking. It doesn't keep a record of wrongs, does not delight in evil, rejoices in the truth, always protects, trusts, hopes, perseveres. And these are core values that are love, joy, peace, kindness, gratitude, especially, to have a deeper partnership with God and then impact people around me. Whatever I do, to be cheerful, joyful, to seek the health of the people I'm around and to help them live the vibrant lives they were all intended to have. So stewardship means giving. When I'm in meetings, I typically see myself as the dumbest person in the room and ask some of the dumbest questions, right? But that allows people to open up and to see that, hey, Rob is a person too, and he doesn't walk on water, but asks questions that are really good, and that opens up other people to be vulnerable and to really share whatever needs to be shared in terms of creativity and openness, and that helps us to work as a team, rub elbows, and debate issues back and forth. And to give people that freedom is what they search for, to be able to express themselves and to not feel, inhibited in any way. So that's servantship for me, right? To servant leader, to be a leader that serves, right? Just like Jesus served everybody. So I try to emulate that as much as possible.
Yeah, and I think what's really neat about the environment that I've walked the halls with you, I've been through your warehouse, I've seen the diversity of people and culture that you have within the company, and you lead with the Lord's love in your heart, and you have this, very strong definition of it based on the teachings of Jesus. And I really appreciate that about you. And I think you've really made a case for what DEI looks like in practice, because it's just embedded within your culture. It's a very inclusive culture without having to call it anything. And so how have you kind of cultivated that community of inclusion, and welcoming so many people into an environment where you were leading through these principles of servanthood?
Well, we look on merit, right? That's the number one thing. When I first took over here, there were some people in place, and we were actually managed by a different management group that managed by intimidation and were very much micromanaging the company. And I was hired to make some changes so we can really grow. You can't grow when you're micromanaged, right? You have to trust in people. And so we really started putting the right people in the right place and giving them the opportunity to really make decisions on their own. And in the beginning, there were so many problems. And I put a rule down that if you come to me with a problem, I want at least two solutions from you.
Mm-hmm.
And that changed everything. And when they saw that I wasn't willing to do, but basically, I was willing to do everything that they wanted to do as well. So I wouldn't do anything special for me. I would make sure that I would be on the same level as them. And if I ever had a problem, I would have solutions as well. And so that helped us to start, changing that. It takes a long time to change culture. I thought I could
Right.
do it within a half a year, and I was seriously wrong. I had to learn the hard way, but just kept at it, right? One of the big things is not giving up, right? That's one thing that we really try to keep continuously improving. That's one of our core values, to continuously improve and to do what we say even when it hurts, and to always help a team member when they get stuck. Always, always, always. So we never try to have one up on one another. So we're committed to helping our teammates, and we're always true to the vision, mission, and reason for being. Our reason for being is to be in partnership with our clients and turn problems into solutions. And we live and breathe that. And we have, I have to, as a leader, I have to do that. I have to practice these core values by myself and show them that I am the leader doing it, and then they will follow. And those that don't follow, we just have to either they change and they go through a PIP plan, performance improvement plan. And if they don't change, they just have to go, right? So it's just a fact of life. Not everyone is going to follow, but we have a business to run, right? And we'll do it with grace and love and care. But if there's an attitude problem, if they're not customer client first, or there's no respect or integrity or transparency, then, and if person complains more, and not providing solutions, then that is really a cancer to the company. So we have to depart with that. So we'll give chances, we'll give second chances, sometimes too many. But I had to learn the hard way that sometimes love is messy, right? You still love, you still are, patient and kind, and you try to, not have a record of wrongs and to do the right thing and love the person. But you basically call out the process that's not being followed. So the person is still loved, but whatever they're doing, the action that they're doing is called out. And so we don't condemn the person, we value the person. So I have six grandkids, so sometimes I watch them as grandkids, and I never say good boy or good girl. I say job well done. You did a great job. And that doesn't go to their value. They're always valued. It's just what they've done. If they've done something bad, well, I didn't like that. That was not the right way. This is not our core values. And sometimes just saying I'm very disappointed in you and just give them the stare can do amazing things. But if they don't, then something has to be done to change our culture. So we're a very, very diverse culture here. And we just want to do a good job and making sure we stay that way. We have people from all over the world, people from Europe, Bosnia, from South America. We have all colors, ethnicity, all ages. Uh,
Yeah. It's beautiful.
Just diverse. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. And going through, I mean, everyone really, from what I've seen, seems incredibly engaged. I mean, you're walking the halls, you're seeing people, they see you. I love your saying of you build these rotary joints, which is specialized product that probably a lot of people don't understand in manufacturing necessarily. But I love your unions for life saying,
Yes.
and how you're really building customer relationships that start with loving your people first. And, given the fact that you're part of this family run business that is German based and it's family owned, it's a global enterprise, you're in a much different culture here that has a multicultural staff. I always think about cultural nuance in business and how cross-cultural understanding and bringing concepts of love, which may mean different things to different people, and they may have had different experience with being or not being loved so much growing up or by their families, and it's really interesting how you brought that into the forefront of your leadership. What have you found to be unique about leading in that context within that family-owned global enterprise?
Yeah, to bring some context, we are a German company, family owned, fourth generation, and we're in Heidenheim, which is between the two largest states in Germany, between Bavaria and Baden-Württemberg. These are the two largest states in the south. Very much a rural area with a lot of farmers in the area, and having done what they do for so long, they're very, very good, very high quality, very high reliability, very service oriented. But that comes with some challenges, and that is typical for German companies with high quality. It's delivery issues. So that's very unique to this country because everybody in the United States wants everything yesterday. We are very, very sales and service driven country here in the United States. And we deal with a lot of end users that in Germany, they deal mostly with OEMs. The difference there is that OEM builds a piece of equipment, our rotary union or joint goes into that. And then those machines are sold to the United States. And the end users that create products, and when their rotary joint or rotary union goes, basically wears out, then they call us and they need everything yesterday. And that's something that our headquarters is working on to understand. I'm here to bring that American culture, to basically show our customers in the United States that we have an American culture here, assembled in the United States, serviced in the United States, but we're still dealing with that German culture of delayed responses, delayed uh, deliveries, and so we try to keep a lot of stock here to be able to hit our the needs of our customers quickly. I think one of the most unique things is that we have a product here. You mentioned it, a rotary joint. In the United States, they're called rotary unions. We took the word union and we said you have a union for life or partnership for life. Our reason for being, our Maier America exists to be in union or in partnership with our clients to turn problems into solutions. So our customers, sometimes there's a 1, 2, 3 year turnaround until we get them on board. So we truly build a union. And once they're with us, they typically stay with us because of our incredible quality, reliability. And these products are so unknown. We call ourselves a hidden champion. What that means is we have a very, very important component that can stop the whole machine, but we're not well known. So most of our business comes through word of mouth. So we're not well known anywhere. We're typically B2B. And the only people that really know us are the ones that really deal with the machines, which is typically engineers, reliable engineers, or maintenance managers, mechanical engineers that work in that area. So the unique real part is that we're a hidden champion. Nobody knows us, but when they call us, they expect an immediate response. If they don't get one from us, 80% of our competition is US based. And so they will go to them. And so we have to do everything we can to provide answers quickly. And that's why it's so important to have the right people in the right place that will answer quickly, think solution oriented to keep that customer or in some cases clients, right? So there's a difference between customers and clients. Clients are somebody who buys all their equipment from you, and customers are, basically companies that may buy from you occasionally. So we make that distinction. And so it's really important that We continue to build our customer base, take care of the existing ones, and especially clients, and then keep on looking for new clients that are looking for that type of quality, reliability, and that service. We have three things that we say that customers always want. I think you know it. I've shared it with you. Number one, they want a defect-free product all the time, no matter what. Number two, they want it timely and, if possible, sooner. And number three, they want an experience. They want to have an experience. And if you can do those three, you have a friend for life, is what I say. If you can turn a problem into a solution, we're unstoppable as long as we work together as a team. So
Yeah.
that's where we spend our time, really
And I think
focusing on these things.
what relates so well to that is how you team build. You talk about being a culture transformer and building a strong integrated workplace culture that understands the mission, because
Yes.
that customer expectation is high. If you're not well known in the marketplace and you get that call, you get that referral, you got to be able to do the job and do the job well and do it right, or else you miss the opportunity. And I know that you've had ambitious goals from day one. I mean, I was reading in my research, you were expected to double the business from the time that you came in, and you've been working ardently at that. But part of that is the foundation needs to be intact. You know, you said there were some things that were hard over the course of the initial culture transformation. I'd like to get into that a little bit and understand what are some of the things that you did initially in those early days of getting the team kind of pointed in the right direction on a values-based system, and how are you continuing that journey today, 10 years later?
Yeah. So when I first started, I had, honestly speaking, no idea what I was doing. I had, vision of it, but I was a very poor performing CEO. I'd never been CEO before, and I wanted to really succeed in this. I told myself I will succeed, and it was probably one of the toughest times in my life because as CEOs, you get very, very lonely at the top. So I finally found this organization called Iron Forums. It's a peer-to-peer group, and I got in with them. It's a Christian-based peer-to-peer group, and one of their major sayings, I actually have it here, is as iron sharpens iron, so one man sharpens another. Right. So that was there. That really helped me a lot, and they then peddled for the first time a product called EOS, Entrepreneur Operating System, which is the book Traction. You may know it here. So I heard about it, but I didn't do anything about it right away because the implementation is very expensive and we had no money. So I kept it in my mind. And then a little bit later, as I was making some changes and becoming better at this, I joined a company called Vistage. You may know them. Vistage is probably the most high-end peer-to-peer group, typically for 10 million and up. But this EOS, I implemented that. We self-implemented, and it was one of the best things we did. It ended up really structuring the business in a way where we had a vision, we had a mission, we had a purpose, we had our why we do what we do, our niche, and what our 10-year target was, what our marketing strategy was. We had a 3-year picture, a 1-year picture, and then we developed these quarterly rocks that help you to basically focus the business on the goals for the year and then what the issues are. And then every week we would have basically a pulse, a weekly pulse, like the heartbeat. You're checking it every week and to see where you're going. You have your quarterly meetings to see if we've hit all our targets, and then you just keep moving forward. And that has really helped us big time to really structure. One of the big things in this is called the people analyzer, to make sure that the people are aligned with your core values, right? And that really helped us to grow. So that, and then I had some good mentors of mine. I have probably about 6 or 7 different mentors that I fall back on, and one of them, Bruce Witt, came in and helped us on the cultural side to really understand culturally how to fit in. And that has been the combination of those two things. I'm still involved in both of these peer-to-peer groups and still keep growing and keep learning. There's so much coming at you. You have to pick and choose the things that really fit for your organization. But that was probably the best thing we've ever done was EOS. And then, of course, with having these contacts at Iron Forums and Vistage, like with you, I can pick up the phone anytime. Hey, how did you do this? I have this person doing that. What would you recommend? Some of the speakers, super high quality speakers that come into the Vistage meetings, they just are incredible. And they have a lot of experience, and so we can just pick up the phone, call them anytime. Sometimes, of course, they're going to, if you want to hire them, they'll come in and charge you. But I could tell you, you get what you pay for. Vistage is very expensive, but it has been a huge, huge advantage for us.
Yeah, so I'm sure for all of our listeners who are business leaders, owners, entrepreneurs, no matter where they are on the journey, they may or may not have taken advantage of peer groups, Vistage, Iron Forums, Red Traction. I'm sure Bruce would love to know that he had such an impact on your life. Maybe you've already affirmed him in that, but instead of digging into what it is, because we can put those resources in the show notes, and I would absolutely encourage everyone to look into that. I'd love to understand. So you said it was expensive. You self-evaluated. It sounds like you started with self, like you
Yes.
wanted to develop yourself as a leader. How did you convince your board, your leadership at the company that these were worthy investments to go out there and invest in for your leadership? When maybe you felt, because I think when you're lonely at the CEO, there's a mentality of fake it till you make it.
Yeah.
Or you could be vulnerable and say, hey, I want to develop as a leader. These are things that I think I should get involved with. How did you go about vetting that, pitching that internally, getting the confidence in them investing and developing you as a CEO?
Very interesting. I'm going to say something that you're probably not going to like, and I really shouldn't be saying this, but sometimes you have to do things and ask for forgiveness later. I
Mm.
had enough freedom to be able to make this decision on my own because I knew the family well enough to know that they would have probably shot this down right from the beginning. There's something with the family that they just have this understanding that, or this aura about them, that Americans can't be better than Germans. And so I just decided to do it and got the team together internally, did it for a whole year, then went into next year, then started sharing elements of it. And they didn't ask anything. I just kept going with it. And they could see the change and they could see the growth. I mean, 50% year over year growth. And now they're at the point where, how did you do this? And so I share with them afterwards, so I could really share that this works, right? Sometimes you just have to take those steps knowing that you're doing the right thing. And when they find out, I had the best interest of the company in mind and I really want to push forward with it and try it. And since nobody was breathing down my neck, I just did it. And afterwards, I could say it worked well and could show the results. And the results were very pleasing, right? That doesn't always work out that way, has gone the other way before. So I don't necessarily recommend it. But what EOS helped me do was to present the company in such a way that we've grown so far in the old building, we can't grow anymore because we needed more space. And I was able to take the whole element of EOS, put that in a presentation to persuade them that we need to move in the building 3 times the size to hit our 10-year goal. And the presentation ended up being so good that they said, wow, okay, we need to move forward with this. Came with some issues and challenges along the way. And again, a lot of doing it and asking for forgiveness later just helped us to get where we are. And now we're probably one of the fastest growing parts of the Maier group. We've grown, as I mentioned, three times. And if it weren't for uh, I guess the delays and response delays, we would have grown much, much more. Had some major ideas. We got us in the automobile industry. We got us into some major, major industries that could have broken open enormous results. But the company is so conservative that they didn't want to go in that direction. But sometimes the leadership just has their own thing and you have to respect that. There's reasons behind it. And so we get along really well, but sometimes there's a difference of opinion. but you continue to respect one another. You can debate it, and then you go out afterwards, have a nice dinner, and and maybe you can somehow come to an agreement or just compromise on certain things, or convince them, right? So people typically change when they have to, right? When the business is so bad they have to, or when they see that things are running so well that they want that as well. And that's what I was able to do. That's a much harder one. It's much easier to make a change when you have to, because then you have no other choice. Then you're in a corner and you have to. I was able to do it that we could just show them, and they finally said, "Wow, okay, let's go ahead and move." Right. So we're in a fully air conditioned place, which is very unusual for Georgia or anywhere in the South. But that helps the employees to stay, focused. We have clean room areas now, and we're just running on an unbelievable state-of-the-art facility now that we didn't have before, and that allows us now with a customer experience center to bring customers in and show us who we really are, and that'll help us to grow the business so much more over the next, 5, 6, 7 years.
Yeah, it's really mindful how you've like designed the whole warehouse and how clean it is and how thoughtful it's been in terms of serving your employees and organizing everything. I've been to lots of warehouses and you don't see that every day. And, I love the idea of sometimes you just have to do it and ask for forgiveness later, and don't ask for permission. And it's empowering, or it's good to empower your CEOs to go out there and develop themselves as leaders, because nobody is fully arrived. But I love the fact that you've been able to navigate this cross-cultural nuance in leadership and leadership philosophy, because we're not a homogenous community. Not even in the States are we here in North America. But when we're working with a global company, we're going to have lots of difference of opinions. We're going to have lots of cultural context. It's all influencing the way that we view leadership and decisions that we have to make. And you said earlier that love is messy, and it is. And you can have these deep relationships with your teams and your leadership and not always see eye to eye on everything, but to be able to navigate that for 10 years, grow the company through where it is today. I know it's no easy time to be in manufacturing in 2025. It's really admirable to see how you've stuck to your values through all of that and how the business growth has followed. So I want to kind of just double click on that, because these things don't happen overnight. They happen over the long term. And so how have you, Rob, stayed grounded in long-term impact while navigating, business growth and the challenges that come along the way? Like when you hit those moments, what has gotten you through it?
Lots of prayer. Basically every morning I just get on my knees and I just surrender to God and ask Jesus and the Holy Spirit to guide me with wisdom throughout the day. There's going to be challenges no matter where you go and no matter which industry you're in. There's always going to be challenges. And, being CEO at the top, it comes with a lot of responsibility, a lot of challenges that happen out of nowhere sometimes. Sometimes one day could be fantastic. Another day could be, man, I wish this day would end faster. But you just stick with it and you grind it, right? And you don't give up and you try to find the joy in everything. That is my key, is to try to find joy. Where I got that was basically from my mom. Just to give you a little background, I don't know if you want to hear this, but my father is from Germany. My mom, Lucy Wyman, came from Germany. They both came from two separate areas. They immigrated here to the United States, and they met each other. She was 17, he was 18, in New York City in a dance place, and I came as a surprise. And they could have aborted, and they didn't. Right, so I was very, very blessed to have this life. And unfortunately, my mom committed suicide when I was 3 years old. I have a picture here of her all the time, looking down at me. That's my mom, and that's her mom, my grandmother, and they pray for me. Now I didn't know that she committed suicide. She had the baby blues, and she tried multiple times until it finally happened. And with 17, when I went back to Germany to try to reconnect with my grandmother, I had heard some things, and I've put my father under pressure, and then he finally said, "Okay, she committed suicide. Okay, just shut up now." And this his German way, and I was like, "Huh?" And so I decided to make it my mission to go back to Germany to find out who she is. And I threw myself in that culture. My grandmother got me an apprenticeship job at the largest manufacturer of printing presses called Heidelberger Druck Machinist. So I went through a machinist apprenticeship. And I always thought I would work with my hands because I didn't think I had the brain power to do anything with my brains. And Germany really gave me the chance to help. The structure and the way they teach the apprenticeship was so helpful for me that I ended up getting really good grades. And then I realized, man, I could study. And so I went into redoing their high school over there, and then going into mechanical engineering at the MIT of Germany, and uh, going with flying colors, which was amazing. And graduating there, and I realized I could use my brain. If I hadn't have done that, I probably would have been in a gutter somewhere in New York City with a needle in my arm. So I'm very, very thankful that I was able to do that. And yeah, so you asked how. At 24, I became a Christian, and I had studied what am I looking for? Where's my roots? And realized that there's no better person in this world than Jesus Christ. He had lived his life in a way that is undeniable, right? And without sin. And I had so much sin. And when I asked for forgiveness for that sin, it just changed me. And from there on, it was a mission to really, do the best I can for all people all the time, no matter where I am, to be joyful, to be kind, to be loving, to really practice love. Made a lot of mistakes. I still have sin every day, but when you confess those sins and you come under God's grace, He guides you and leads you. And that was an incredible blessing. So how you just stick with it, you don't give up. You just keep looking for ways to move forward and to keep building. You stick with your core values, and you just keep growing that way, right? So my personal mission is to elevate and empower, educate, influence people to experience a joyful, cheerful, healthy, and vibrant lives that we're all meant to have. And because my mom committed suicide, I have an incredible empathy towards people that are going through depression. Right. So I listen. And my wife and I both Stephen Ministries. I don't know if you know what that is, but we're like care receivers. We listen. Caregivers. Excuse me. We basically listen carefully to those that are going through a tough time. And I challenge every CEO to go through that, because that really helps you listen to people, to know where they're coming from. And when you can have your weekly check-ins and just listen to your people and ask them key questions. What'd you do last week? What are you looking at doing this week? What do you want to accomplish by then? How are you doing personally? How's your family life? How can I help you? Is there any way that I can grow you? And when you do that every week, and you help, and people see that you really listen, it changes everything for them. That, wow, I got a leader who's really listening to me. He's not an a-hole. He really tries to. And then when you exhibit that and try to help them to achieve that next level of where they want to go, it just affirms to them that, wow, a good leader and growth, that's what people want. They want to. It's not about work anymore. It's not about coming to work just for a paycheck. It's about, man, I'm I'm respected, I'm cared for, and we have growth, and I can help grow this company, and I can help use the skills and understanding energy that I have to help grow this, right? And when you get that together, everybody rowing in the same direction, you become unstoppable, just literally unstoppable. And any problem can come to us. I got to watch what I say, because now tomorrow we'll get a problem. We just have to really work at it, and we hate that, but we just all put our sleeves up and we just go at it, right? And we work as a team. And when others see that you're engaged with it, they respect you so much more. So that's what we can. We're a tiny company here, but this can be applied in anywhere, in any business.
Amen. I agree with that, and I've seen it at work. I've seen the results, and I've seen the way in which you drive performance through teamwork and culture and an operating system that's really helped you get organized as a business. And all of this just comes together to the glory of God and all the things that you've done to be obedient in your faith walk, in your journey, in your surrender. And I really admire that about you. And I think it's a great word for our listeners, whether they have wherever they're at on their spiritual lives and in their journey. So I really appreciate how you brought that perspective to it. So I know we're coming up on time here. So what would be kind of that last word? If there was one thing that you hoped other leaders would remember from this conversation that might be practical application today, what would that be?
I always say to my people, plan as if you're going to live forever and live as if you're going to die tomorrow. Make the best out of every moment. That's the bottom line. Just do your best and let God do the rest.
Love it. Well, Rob, this has been such a gift. Grateful for your friendship, grateful for your leadership, your example, everything we've gotten to learn from you today. So thank you for coming on the Steward Chair.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. Appreciate you.
My sincere thanks to Rob for joining us today. His insights on leading with integrity, faith, and a deep-seated love for his people are a testament to the power of values-driven leadership. And now, here is your steward's call. This is one key moment that I think you can take from our conversation and simply put into practice today. So I want you to challenge yourself to lead with more vulnerability and trust. Ask your team for solutions, not just problems, and show them that you value their ideas. By empowering your people, you can build a more engaged and innovative culture. And remember, building a legacy isn't a future event, it's a daily practice. So what you do today will shape the impact you leave behind. And if you found value in today's conversation, as always, we would appreciate you taking a moment to follow the Steward Chair wherever you get your podcasts, as the best way to ensure you'll never miss an episode, and help us grow this community by sharing this episode with a leader you respect. A final thank you to our incredible team, executive producers Quentin Thomas and Thomas Mastrototero, and our managing editor, Daniel Mastrototero, for the true stewardship behind this show. And I'm your host and researcher, Jeff Bond. With that, go and be a leader worth following.